Kurt, welcome to Floor Talk. It's great to have you on the show today.
Great to be here.
Thank you. So Kurt, what exactly is a brain-computer interface, also known as BCI, and how does it have the potential to change lives?
It's a technology that translates brain signals into action. And believe it or not, there's about 14 million people globally, 3 million people here in the United States that have some motor impairment. And by that I mean they don't have the ability to connect to technology. And a BCI is, you think about it, it's a prosthetic. It's a motor neuroprosthetic, and it's a device that establishes that connection between thought into action in a digital way to then allow them to get independence and autonomy back by connecting to digital devices like an iPhone, like an iPad, to help them with their daily tasks, manage their health, maybe do financing, and to communicate with loved ones.
And how does Synchron's approach to BCI stand out from others in the field in terms of design and in patient accessibility?
BCI has a history, and it's been built on probably about 3 decades of amazing science in the world of understanding how the brain works. And that whole approach over the last 30 years has relied on the access to the brain by removing the skull, so a craniotomy. The founders of Synchron understood there's got to be a better way to access the brain, and saying, hey, can we listen to the brain through the blood vessel wall? And this is where the founders of the company of Synchron looked at it and said, yes, we can, but it's going to take a unique technology to be able to do that. And so our technology is based on what looks like a stent, and I actually have one right here. This is what they call the stentrode portion of the device. So it looks much like a stent, but it's actually a circuit board. So this is what allows you to access through the blood vessel, goes up into the brain of a portion that is right next to the motor cortex. So you see the motor signals and actions. But for people that have there's been trauma, whether it's a stroke, spinal cord injury, or been affected by a disease such as ALS, they no longer have that functionality back, but they still have that functioning of their brain. And so again, you're reading the brain signals, it translates it via the stentrode here, and then with the transceiver portion that's under the skin here, collects the signal and then Bluetooths out the signal to be able to control the digital world around you. So that ability to be able to access the blood vessels in a minimally invasive way, never having to cut open the skull, put something in the brain to understand how the brain works, is really our kind of niche. And that's really our approach. It's all about the scalability and the safety profile of this type of technology.
Now, Kurt, Synchron has announced collaborations with major tech companies like Apple, Amazon, NVIDIA, and OpenAI. How do these partnerships enhance the patient experience and the capabilities of your device?
Very simple with one of them, right? This is a device that we hope that the patient can control, and we've shown that in our studies. So we have 2 studies so far. So using smart technology that's designed by these big tech companies like Apple, Microsoft, it's critical that if you want to interact with it, you have to work with them. So it's our engineers that get to work with these engineers of these big companies to make sure that there's a seamless interaction between how the patient's thinking and interacting, and then how are they using the technology. So it's really critical that there's that partnership as the technology evolves, in the tech industry, that we have that connection. If you look at a partnership such as NVIDIA, they're a company that makes high compute hardware to be able to look at AI and really compute data on edge, on a device at a really scalable approach. So they also bring in data from a contextualized environment, digitizing the environment around us that will help our patients train on how to use the BCI. So we have a great collaboration going on with NVIDIA. We actually have some even more exciting stuff coming down with NVIDIA coming up next month at their big GTC meeting. But it's these type of tech partnerships that allow patients or users of the BCI to connect more seamlessly, to connect to more things, and then just get better at training on how to use their device. And then our models can learn and understand even that much better and faster. So you think about, you want it to evolve and get better over time. It's that compute of the data that happens with that, and that happens with tech partnerships.
And what stage of development is your medical device currently in, and how can individuals get involved in future clinical trials?
We're still in our clinical phase of development. So we are looking out to the community of people out there. You can go onto our website, so synchronbci.com. And this is a community where it's not only to understand where we're at in our cycle and then when our next trial is coming up. It's actually a feedback loop, because we're not developing it for people, we have to develop it with them. And so we're using this platform to be able to say, get the voice of people that would be using it, and what do you want to do with the system? When would you want the system to have be available for you? So it's this community that we're building within Synchron that allows us to have that real connection with the folks that we're designing it for.
All right, and finally, Kurt, looking ahead, tell me, what are the key milestones Synchron is focused on achieving in the next year?
We're very, very excited getting back into to humans, doing our next study, and then getting on to early next year will be that study, the pivotal study that will allow us to commercialize the product at the end of that. So it's getting this new system in the patients, and as well as continue to work with our tech partnerships to evolve the product and its seamless connection to the world.
All right, well, Kurt, it's been wonderful to talk with you. Thank you for joining me on Fuller Talk today.
Absolutely, great to be here.